Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to talk about when should you turn off TRAC. This was a question posted by one of the viewers, and I think it's a great question. By the way, incidentally, you know, that's how you learn, is asking questions for people that know stuff. That's what I do. People that have way more off-road experience than me, I ask questions. And, you know, that's how you learn. So keep asking questions. And the other way to learn, of course, is to get out and try and just do your thing. But anyway, the subject of today's video is when should you turn off TRAC. In a recent video, we talked about TRAC, not a TRAC, TRAC, which is the limited front and rear differential feature on most Toyota 4Runners, GX, LX, Land Cruiser, and other models. But we're going to go over when to turn off TRAC, or why would you turn off TRAC, in what situation would you not want TRAC. By the way, TRAC defaults. Once you're in 4x4, whether you're in 4Runner or a GX or etc., once you're in 4 high, TRAC is on. There's not going to be a light, and it's not going to tell you when it actuates. TRAC is on. It's your front and rear limited slip differential through modulation of the ABS system. But anyway, let's find a sandy spot up ahead here, and let's demonstrate. Let's just go ahead and turn TRAC off. We'll do an area without TRAC on. And when you turn off TRAC, you might as well just turn off VSC, vehicle stability control. That's your oversteer stuff. So if we could take a turn with that still on, it'll want to cut out the gas, because the vehicle stability control reads the angle of the steering wheel here. So if you're at too much angle and you're accelerating, it's going to kill the gas, and that's not going to have the same effect of clearing all the traction age, which is what we're going to see what happens here. So let's find a sandy spot, and if you haven't done so, please remember to like and subscribe. All right, before we get to our sandy spot, which is coming up here in a second, where we're going to go ahead and take TRAC and VSC off, let's go ahead and talk about why you would want to take TRAC off to begin with. As stated earlier, TRAC is basically a limited slip differential that limits the slip, just like the name sounds. So taking off TRAC essentially is taking off any slip limiters in your front and rear drive line. In other words, it's not going to limit any slip. So the wheels are going to be allowed to spin like open differentials. So why would you want to use that? There's two scenarios. The most common scenario where you're going to want to have your wheels spinning fast is for those of you who live in snowy conditions. And when you're in a situation where there's snow on the top layer, and then beneath that layer there's going to be some ice, some hard ice, and you're stuck. And what you're going to want to do, and people, you know, who are familiar with snowy situations know all about this, but they're going to want to you're going to want to basically rock the vehicle back and forth to get out of that situation, you know. So you want the wheels spinning, and that's going to kick off that top layer of snow, of soft snow, and then it'll get you down to that hard ice. Now you might be thinking, well, if your wheels are spinning, you're just going to, you know, you're going to dig yourself a hole like in sand. Not so with once you get to the hard ice. You're going to be, you know, you'll wear away a little bit out of it, but the ice is going to be so hard and solid there that once your wheels get going and you're down to that ice skating rink, that high speed is actually going to get you traction. And that's what you see people do when they're rocking their car. They go spin forward, back, and they start to get their momentum going, and then they can get out of the situation. That's when you're going to want to turn TRAC and VSC off to get out of that snow trap situation. It's if you had TRAC and VSC off, as you start cranking and getting those wheels going, try to rock yourself back and forth out of that icy situation, the vehicle here, the TRAC system, will just start applying the brakes, or if it senses that VSC should kick in, which it might, because VSC is also takeoff control, so it thinks you're drag racing. But if you're trying to rock through ice with track on and get yourself out of a stuck situation, it's just going to break or cut the gas through VSC, and you're not going to be able to get that momentum going. So that's your first reason you would want to turn off VSC and TRAC. And what you do, again, by holding the button down, make sure the vehicle's stopped, hold that button down, the traction control off button, for 3 seconds, and both VSC and TRAC will go off. That's situation number one. But there is a second situation, and that is what we're about to hopefully find here is a soft sand situation, but more specifically when you go to the beach and you're off-roading on the beach. So I don't off-road on the beach a lot, but a lot of people do, and experts who have, you know, do this all the time, have more experience than me, have said that when you're on soft sand like the beach, and you're going along the beach parallel with the ocean or the shoreline, you're going to want to take off all the traction aids and have maximum wheel spin as you're kind of speedily going through the sand. Speed makes the car lighter, and soft surfaces like light things on them. Lightness and soft, sandy, loose surfaces go together. You would not want to put it in 4-low and lay down a bunch of torque. That will dig a hole like a dog digging a hole. So you want, in a beach situation or soft sand, which we're going to find here in a moment, you want to take those aids off so you have full reel spin like an open differential, so your wheels can just spin and go to town and kick that soft sand out of the way, become lighter as they're becoming faster. Both the wheel is spinning, so that the wheel itself becomes lighter, your contact patch becomes lighter, and as the vehicle continues to keep speed and get faster, it becomes lighter, which helps you in that soft situation. So those who off-road on the beach, in addition to airing down, which is critical on soft sand, even though we're going to be too lazy to do it today, but if you're on the beach, air down, take off all the traction aids, and basically let her rip. Within reason, of course. But you want to keep your speed up. And of course, airing down is going to increase your contact patch. But you want those traction aids off. VSC, TRAC off. Because you don't want anything limiting that wheel spin, because speed gets you out of soft situations. Speed gets you out of soft situations. Okay, so here we are at a spot that I think is relatively sandy up here. It's hard to find a great spot, but it's relatively sandy, so I'm going to go ahead and hold the traction control for 3 seconds, and it's going to go ahead and say VSC off and TRAC off, and now everything's off, and so it's basically open differentials. I'm in 4 high, and I'm just going to give it some gas here, and the terrain ahead is soft. It's you know, I'm trying to find softer stuff, but this is a case where, as you can see, it's kind of there's not a lot of tracks, and it's very very fluffy up here. You know, there's no tracks here. Nobody's really gone through this, so by giving it taking all those traction aids off, you're getting the maximum wheel spin to help you through this loose stuff. I'm not doing anything extreme, and that's not what this is about. You know, it's not about doing extreme stuff. It's just demonstrating that with, you know, I'm at standard tire pressure. I'm not aired down or anything, but the wheels are free now to spin around in the soft sand as much as they want, and you're going to do just fine. And that's a situation, this is a situation where you want this. Now, it's not absolutely positively necessary. This looks like a little competition type of hill, type of area, steep sandy hill. A lot of trash here I'm trying to avoid. Man. Not a good place to avoid trash, unfortunately. But up ahead is a soft sandy hill, and I don't know if I'll make it up. My goal is not to get up the hill. I'm just going to show you what it's like with the track off. I'm going to gun it. This goes straight up. Now, that's as far as I got. I'm not going any further. I'm going to roll back. The goal wasn't to get up that hill. The goal was to show you that if you're planning to get up that hill, that's what you want to do, because look how soft and fluffy that sand is. That's some loose sand, okay? You can see my marks there, okay? And so if I had the traction aids off, it would have been cutting the power. The correct way to get up that hill is to have the traction aids off and gun it full speed, but you want to lower your tire pressure because that's going to improve your contact patch. But that's an example of what you want to do. Now let's go ahead and turn the traction aids back on, and we'll go down the same line basically with the traction aids on, and I'll show you the difference. I'm just going to back up here. Need my mirrors for that. So okay, so all I did was back up, and now I'm going to turn the traction back on. So same thing, 4 high, in drive, diff locked, and center diff locked, and now TRAC is on and VCS is on, and you're going to see it's not going to get me as far before it starts cutting out the power and applying brakes. So let's do it again. Here we go. Alrighty, I can feel TRAC engaging, but I'm going to try to give it more speed. And that's it. So right there with the traction aids on, you could immediately feel it as we're getting going there. As you're trying to take off in that loose sand, right at the beginning, you could just feel the brakes pulsating, trying to stop the vehicle from going, getting that speed going, because it's sensing too much wheel slip, and that stops your takeoff. Now, I got it just about as far with the traction aids on, but I can assure you, I could tell you that it was limiting the power as I was taking off. If I was aired down, I'd probably get up this hill, but only with the traction system off. So when you're in this loose stuff, that's when you're going to want to go ahead and turn off all that traction stuff for maximum wheel spin. Okay, so remember, the point of today's video was not to show you how to get up a sandy hill. It's to show you the difference with TRAC on and off, and specifically when to turn it off. In all practicality, you will never turn off TRAC unless you're playing around on a sandy hill like that and trying to get up a sand dune, or you're trying to rock yourself out of snow on hard ice, or you are cruising along the beach. So unless you're in those 3 unique situations, I think it's a great idea to keep TRAC on, because it acts as a limited slip differential front and rear in most situations, 95% of off-roading situations. But if one of those 3 situations, if you find yourself in one of those 3 situations, or you know you're going to be in those 3 situations, that's where you want to turn off TRAC and VCS. That's what it's for. That's why Toyota makes the option to turn it all off. In those rare situations that you need to do so, there it is. So I hope this answers your question about when would you turn off your traction control, specifically TRAC and VCS, in your Toyota or your Lexus GX. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day.